Hi guys, happy live. I am only more than an hour and a half late. I apologize. There's just lots going on in the real estate world today, and obviously when people are spending hundreds of thousands, and in this case millions of dollars, sometimes things when they go sideways are a little bit more complicated than others. So I apologize again for the delay. Hopefully you guys are all excited. There is less than 1 week until things open up again. I know I'm excited. I am going to do my regular today, which is go over the happy news, go over some real estate updates, as well as answer your guys' questions and answers. Not answer your answers, but answer your questions that have come in throughout the week. So I'm going to dive right in and start with the first question. Again, I apologize for being more than an hour and a half late. My sincere apologies, and Charlie the dog's apologies also. So the first question is from Josh in Gravenhurst. So Josh in Gravenhurst said, I currently rent a bachelor apartment and pay $1,600 a month. Prices seem crazy and messed up out there. I have a good job, but my approval was only for $460 because I haven't been there very long. What can I do? And it says ... wait ... move north ... help. Thank you, Josh, for asking. So $460, I know back in the day was super healthy, obviously, to buy a home, but now things have changed with prices skyrocketing and so forth. I definitely feel you're paying for the $460 of what you're trying to find. So there's lots of different options you could do. So say, for example, you potentially, got a condo in Gravenhurst, or you maybe not signed up, but joined with somebody. I can't, tell who that is. So it used to tell me people's names, but it doesn't tell me anymore. So I can only see the little bubble. But you could join with a friend, for example. So let's just say you're approved for $460. He or she is approved for $460. You guys could buy something together. So at least you get in the market and have that equity growing, whether it is a duplex or just, a 2-bedroom home or a 3-bedroom home, etc. And you guys share the space just because you're having a bit of an issue getting in by yourself. You could move further north where your dollar goes a bit better for your bang for your buck. But those are just obviously like quick things to say. And, you could even go with 2 other friends if you wanted and get something that the 3 of you live upstairs and you rent out the basement apartment or something like that, but there's lots of different options for you. But I would definitely get into the market as opposed to waiting, which was one of the things you said. So thank you for asking. Before I do real estate, I always do a little bit of happy news. So what are basically the chances? So there was a little baby girl, but a baby that was found, and she still had like her umbilical cord attached and so forth. And so it's just in India, outside of a town, and this stray dog found her and I guess brought the dog to where she had all her puppies. And it was guessed that the baby was there for 2 days before found, just by the umbilical cord, etc. And some people say that, the strays there are pretty vicious or what have you, but the little girl was not harmed at all and taken care of by the mother dog. So I just thought that was cute, and obviously the little girl's safe now. They're investigating who she is, etc. But it's just random news because I don't like all, regular news. It's all doom and gloom. So next question comes from Jill in Barrie. So Jill said, is spring still the best time to typically sell your property? Thank you, Jill, for asking. So spring is still the busiest time. So, April, May, people want to close in the summer when kids are typically out of school, July, August, end of June, etc. So that's why it's usually the busiest. And then obviously people don't necessarily like to move when there's 3 feet of snow outside. So that's why it's more popular. However, it does mean that you're against more competition. So let's just say, for example, now you list and you're against 10 other homes. And if you do specifics to your house, there's probably none that are just like your home, but there might be 10 currently in your area. And like I said, 0, they're exactly like yours. Whereas if you list in, the end of March or April or May, there might be 75, 80, 90, 100, etc. So somebody might go to a home that has extra garage than yours, maybe has a bigger ensuite, maybe has a bigger backyard, maybe has no neighbors behind, maybe has a walkout basement, maybe has a basement apartment, etc. So you're just not as much in the driver's seat as you would be right now. So a lot of people like to sell in off seasons, which this would be considered an off season. So they sell in off seasons where they're more in the driver's seat, and then they buy in busy season like you're talking about in spring. So they sell now when they're in the driver's seat. There's not a lot for the buyers to choose from, so they get more money, more bidding wars, etc. And then they put their closing in, for example, April, May, when there's more for them to choose from. So I would not say that is the best time to sell. I would personally sell now and then buy in that time. Hi, Scotty. Happy Wednesday live in the dark. I can't see Scotty. Can you see who the other people are? I can't see who they are. I can only see little bubbles, but I can't tell who it is. So I used to say their name and I could say hi to them. Okay. So there's a new record in England, which is actually cute, Scotty. It is the oldest married couple now. They've been married for, not oldest married, but longest married. So they've been married for 81 years. They're 102 years old and 100 years old, and they got together at 19 and 21. And their names are Ron and Joyce. And they said that nobody's the boss in their relationship, that there's a lot of give and take and a lot of support, which I thought was super cute. They have 2 kids and then obviously multiple grandkids, great-grandkids, and even great-great-grandkids. And they share an apartment in a nursing home, which, again, I thought was cute. Oh, I see, Scotty. Me too. Okay, next question, and then we'll do real estate, okay? And again, I apologize for being an hour and a half late, but there's lots going on in the real estate world today, so it was very hard to get off my phone. Okay, so Stephanie and Cam asked a question, and they're from Innisfil. We've already seen some houses on the market that caught our eye, but we're afraid, what if we buy one of them and then a month or 2 goes by and another one gets listed that we like better? Thank you for asking. To be honest, there's always going to be homes, right? So you might find one that has a nicer kitchen, or you might find one that has, I don't know, a nicer office or bigger windows that you like, or a newer roof, and yours you have to redo the roof, etc. But there's always going to be another home. So unfortunately, you just have to get into one, because there will always be another home. So that's why a lot of people move all the time, because they see something like, hey, I always wanted this subdivision and none ever came up in it, now one came up in it, or what have you. But there's always going to be something else. You might want a bigger kitchen, you might want a bigger master bedroom or a primary bedroom, you might want more parking spaces in your driveway and not have, a sidewalk through, etc. But there will always be something that comes up. So I would love to say that there will never be ones that come up you like more, but it will always happen. So unfortunately, they'll always happen. Hi, Dad. How are you? Hi, Carrie. Hi, Grant. Some people I recognize their bubbles, but not everybody. Okay. One more thing before real estate is everybody loved Betty White. So Betty White, as you guys know, passed about 2 weeks before her 100th birthday. And somebody started a GoFundMe from basically the, not the industry, but do you know what I mean? A famous person started it. And they said, give $100 just because she was going to turn 100 years old. And fast forward, it has $12.7 million in it to local shelters and so forth, because she had 26 dogs. So it's all going to different shelters across. So yay for puppies and cats that will get the help that they need. And then obviously she was a sweet soul. So, she will be missed very much. Yes, Betty. Hi, Dad. Hope you're having a great day in Hawaii. Okay, now we're in the real estate world. Charlie has come back with his ball to the couch. Hi, Ken. Oh, I'm glad that things are great in New Brunswick. Yes, Betty was awesome, Dad. She was a sweetheart. Okay, so in the real estate world, immigration, right? So in the next 3 years, there's supposed to be over 1.2 million people coming to Canada, so just over 400,000 a year. So obviously that is good for, the economy and so forth, but a lot of people come, to Canada and they want to have like higher wages, possibly home ownership, etc. But with all the first-time buyers as well that are also trying to get into home ownership, which we do not have the inventory as it is, it definitely creates a bit of extra demand that we don't have to fill. So house prices basically have almost tripled since 2018, which again is crazy. So they did a survey. So 2/5 of immigrants said that they were dissatisfied with the Canadian housing market, since they've been here. And then they asked people, if not about the housing market, but just if you like where you currently live. So 63% of immigrants say they do currently like where they live, despite if they own it or not. And 82% of people that are not immigrants say they like where they live. And the study also showed that immigrants in city centers make less money, which is odd since that's where they have to pay more. So the average immigrant, I'm sorry for noises, Charlie's ball that he's squeezing. The average immigrant is $29,600 in a city center. I just got his ball. So he can go get that. I just hit something when I threw it backwards in the dark. So they make $29,600 on average in Toronto. but it is said that you need on average a $200,000 income to purchase in Toronto. So regardless, immigrant or not, but on average, the average person makes $77,000 in Toronto, and they need $200,000 to have a mortgage. So I'm not going to keep throwing Charlie's ball, so we'll just have to have the squeaky noise of it. So normally people have been going to BC and Ontario typically when they do come to Canada, but more recently they have been having requests a lot from Manitoba as well as Quebec. Hi Josh, how are you? So that has changed, and then economists have said it's basically a catch-22, kind of like I said before, that the immigrants are good for the economy and so forth, but because we already have that lack of inventory for all the people that we already have trying to buy, then it's not, helping the situation of our, already issues with our real estate market. So in 2016, 45% of people's income went towards their housing, and in 2021, 52%. And Scotty said Shmummy is busy. But I don't know if it's Dad or Arian that's watching this, but when I bought my first house, she said if you can put a quarter, if you have, 4 obviously weeks in the month, and if you could pay your mortgage with one of your weeks pay wherever you work, then you're golden. And basically they're saying that 52% of people's income, so more than 2 weeks, is going towards their rent or their mortgage, which does not go after what she said to do. And again, in 2016, it was 45%. So it is going up the amount that people are putting towards their homes. And in Toronto in 2021, the cost of housing compared to their income went up more than 15.3%, which is the highest it's been since the 80s, which is when they had the double income or the double-digit interest rates. Okay. And so just loans given last year alone, not just loans, what's it called? Gifts. So let's just say the bank of, mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or whoever. So just last year alone, gifts when, so say a mortgage broker, say TD Bank, say Royal Bank, etc. They said that over $10 billion of gifts were given to people that then bought a home with those gifts. And the average in Ontario was $130,000, and the average in BC was $180,000, the gifts that people got. And over 30% of people that bought last year in Ontario did get a gift from a family member, and 66% of people said that was majority of their down payment. Charlie just sneezed. Majority of their down payment was from a family member. It was not their own. Okay, so nationally, the gifted average that people received to buy a home was $82,000, just because obviously a lot of people are having a hard time finding the funds to buy a home. So across Canada, $82,000 was the average that people got, and that's more than 9.7% more than in the last 5 years average that people have been getting as gifted down payments. So in Alberta and Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, they range between 20 to 27% of people that bought were also given gifted amounts of money for their down payment. And I'm actually changing subjects, so I apologize. Money. Scotty, are you getting some money? More than 50% of Gen Zers have given up on owning a single-family residential home in Ontario. Hasn't said they've given up on like townhomes or condos, but they've said they've given up on detached homes. And I talked about it last week, obviously, but not everybody's on every week. Hi, Jordan. How are you? Hi, Chris. So obviously interest rates are rising the end of this year, but less than half of Canadians still have mortgages. So that is not affecting it. And then also the stress tests in 2021 were 2% higher. So they were getting ready for people if they had to pay higher interest rates. And it's only supposed to go up around 0.7%. So they've already been approved at the 2%, so the 0.7% isn't going to make a difference. And what they've said that will look like and translate for is $50 a month. So it's not like your mortgage is $1,900 a month more or whatever. In 2021, it'll be about $50 a month. In 2023, will be about $65 a month more on your mortgage. But that is based off the average mortgage of $241,000. So let's just say $250,000 because it's an easier number. And obviously most people's mortgages are more than that. But even if you do a $500,000 mortgage, that's still only $100 a month more. And if you did a $750,000 mortgage, that's only $150 more a month. So it's not $900 more a month, $1,500 more a month, etc. It is a very small amount. And again, majority of people are locked in at rates that are either already higher than that, or if they were locked in at a lower rate, they were approved at 2% higher anyways. Okay? And Charlie with his ball, so I apologize. What else? Charlie and his ball. So some banks are not even going to put it up. They've said that, say, $50 or $65. They're just going to extend people's amortization. So let's just say they have 21 years left on their mortgage. They'll put it to 23, for example, and keep their payments the same. So they're not even going to go up that $50 or $65. And basically, what does all this mean is that the interest rates going up the end of 2022 is not going to burst any real estate bubble. We still have no inventory and tons of demand, so prices are still going to go up. Okay? So right now, the detached homes are the most sought after, specifically in Toronto, but obviously as we get elsewhere as well. Sorry, I'm getting a call, so we'll disregard that. So we, for example, had 2 yesterday detached. One had 8 offers and one had 17 offers. So obviously detached is super popular right now. So in the GTA in 2017, 77% of homes that were sold were detached freehold. And last year, only 52% were detached freehold. So there's not as many that have sold, not because they're not popular, just because they're not on the market to be sold. So we have lack of inventory. So I apologize for all these numbers, but it is what it is. So from 1970 to 2000, basically every 10 years, there were 3.1 million more people, you know, whether immigrants or just people being born, etc. And there was 1.3 million new homes built, okay? So 3.1 million people being born every 10 years, 1.3 million homes being built for those people. And then from 2010 to 2019, there was over 4 million people, so an extra million people, but there was only 1.1 million homes built. So 200,000 less homes built, but over 1 million people more in the country. So it didn't make sense. So basically they're saying unless they can correct and get the, you know, more homes in quicker, etc., we're going to continue to have our climb, not necessarily that steep, but our climb in real estate. And then I don't know if you guys know what an iceberg house is, but if you think of like the water, and you think of a little peak and then the big iceberg below. So basically that's kind of what it is, but in a house. So it is not popular, but happening in Vancouver, and some of them have started to pop up around Toronto. So let's just say they say, hey, you can only build 60% of the lot size in Toronto, but it doesn't say what you can build underneath. So they're building like multi-level basements, not just one level basement with a rec room and a bedroom and a bathroom. They're like, hey, this level has a gymnasium. This one has a pool. This one has, a golf driving range and a theater, blah, blah. So they're doing that. So until they get some kind of criteria on how many basement levels people can do, that will be one of the new things in Toronto. A lot of people have also been asking, like, how has the rest of Ontario become like a Toronto and Vancouver market? And there's many reasons. So obviously we have the low interest rates. We have a lot of people have actually saved during COVID because they're not out spending, as well as people working from home. And basically, I'd say like pandemic, like angst. So they're like, I want a bigger home. I want a bigger backyard. I want space to work from home. I want space to homeschool my kids, etc. So a lot of people are moving. So there's just lots of people moving and grooving, and they don't care. Like little towns that used to average, 80 to 120,000 to buy there are now averaging $500,000. So people are moving out of the cities, etc. What else? There is a professor at UFT, that's not true, at Western, and his name is Mike Moffat, and he's also the director of this thing called Smart Property Institute. But he said basically they've been studying everything, and it's showing like people are getting the amount of gain in 1 month that they used to get in 5 years. So it's obviously going crazy, as we know, in the real estate market. And so with our lack of inventory, sometimes people blame the low interest rates, and they say they just need higher interest rates. Sometimes they say we just need more inventory. Sometimes they blame the investors. And right now, the newest thing is to blame the baby boomers. So they're saying that the people aren't downsizing like they're supposed to. They're not moving into condos like they're supposed to. They're not moving into nursing homes, etc. Obviously, they can do whatever they want, but that is the new blame. What they're doing, they're people born 46 to 64, so that's both of my parents. And then obviously some of them have seen, people passing away during the pandemic in nursing homes, so they don't want to go there. But they're also more healthy than prior generations were at that age, right? So they're still working, they're still out and about. They don't want to leave their homes. And 52% of people surveyed said they would rather renovate their home to, whether it's to have like a bar in the bathroom if they need it or what have you, or have like a nanny type suite and have like a nurse live on staff like in their home as opposed to going to a nursing home. My dad said, bummer that people are blaming the baby boomers. Yes, they blamed me last week, the investors, so it'll always go to somebody who's blamed, Dad. What else was I going to say? Okay, so 75% of baby boomers own their house outright and they do not have a mortgage, and 17% have a second or a third home. And just them keeping it just adds to our lack of inventory, as do many things though. So another thing too for baby boomers that they are blaming is reverse mortgages. So there's a company in Canada and it's called Home Equity Bank, and they right now have how much? $5 billion billion with a B that they're carrying in reverse mortgages. So it means that people over 55 can keep their home, and even if they had no mortgage, then they can get a mortgage and they can use that to buy another property, to buy a boat, to travel the world, etc. Scotty and my dad are having a conversation. Okay. So the next question is from Amanda in Barrie. So Amanda in Barrie said, would you ever buy on an island to short-term rental? Thank you, Amanda, for asking. I personally would not, because obviously getting them out there, like, are you just going to let them use a boat? What if they've never driven a boat before? If you're not going to let them use it, who are you going to have meet them there? And let's just say they're supposed to be there at 6 and they don't come till 9:30 and it's just a pain in the butt. And then what about when you can't take them on a boat and but the ice isn't frozen enough? I know there's those like machines, they're like half boat, half, I don't know what they are, like hovercrafts or something. I personally just, when it's a lot of headache, I think, but you can if you want, but I would not have the added stress of it. They are cheaper than buying a, road access, waterfront property, but they are cheaper for a reason. My dad said, worst financial investment for a baby boomer is a reverse mortgage, as per Susie Orman. Thank you, Dad. But some people have gotten them. $5 billion worth has been given out to baby boomers, Dad. So some people have gotten them. And then they stay in their home. Okay, so the next thing is, like the roaring, I know it sounds weird, but the roaring 20s, even though none of us were really around in the 20s. So supposedly after the Depression was roaring 20s and people were, pent up and whatever after the Depression, then they want to spend all this money, and supposedly that is what is going to happen now that things with COVID and things are being lifted, that people want to spend money. So they did a survey, and 70% of people said they plan on spending a lot more freely and in the next 10 years is what they said, and 84% of those people said they did save during the pandemic, but they want to use that money and spend it. And 59% of Gen Z said they are going to spend more freely once this is over. 45% of millennials said they're going to spend more freely. 25% of Gen X, 36% baby boomers. And on a side note, 73% of those people surveyed did say they have some savings aside. However, it was $3,816, which I know I can't do that much with that, but that's how much they had saved. So 31% of the 2,000 people surveyed said they would rather have an experience that they, do, and I was going to say experience, but obviously experience and experience. And 25% said they would rather buy material things. So the main things that people said that they would like to do, so the first thing was travel. The second thing was home decor or home goods. The third thing was electronics. The fourth thing was go out to restaurants. The fifth thing was buy clothes or shoes. The sixth thing was live events. And the seventh thing was museums. Travel. Scotty's all about the travel. So the next question is from Callie in Bradford. So Callie in Bradford, I just feel like in my black darkness here. Callie in Bradford said, I have almost 400 to 450,000 in equity in my home. I'm tempted to leave Ontario and buy and be mortgage free somewhere cheaper. What are your thoughts on that? Thank you, Callie, for asking. Obviously, it's very different. Are you buying in Costa Rica? Are you buying in New Brunswick? Are you buying in Florida? Are you buying in North Carolina? We have had clients do all of the above, but it's really obviously a personal thing. I've had some people do it years ago, and they said they priced themselves out of the market because now they'll never get back into the Ontario market because it's hard to get back in once you've gotten out. And then other people that love it and they try and sometimes succeed and get all their friends to move out there as well, wherever they're going. So it's really personal depending on the person. So I can't really say what do I think about that. I definitely think it's hard to get back into the Ontario market if you want to do that. But if you never want to do that, then, and you want to go live that life, then all the power to you. And thank you for asking. Okay. What else? So you know how they say like level the playing field? So one lady or young lady or whatever said she wanted to level the airfield. So it was a 19-year-old from, where is she from? Belgium. And she's the youngest woman to fly around the world. 19, both of her parents were pilots, but only 5.1% of pilots are female, which I did not know. So she started flying as a toddler with her parents, obviously, not actually her flying, but being in the plane. And then she started driving herself, which I don't know the age in Canada, but supposedly she was 14 in Belgium doing it. And so she was supposed to go to 52 countries. She ended up doing 41 due to some forest fires and some countries not letting her into the country or fly over. I'm not sure the exacts of it. It took her 155 days, and she did it in the smallest plane that anyone has ever done it around the world, and it went 160 miles per hour. And she said she just wanted to, one, raise money, and two, show other, young women that they can go after their dreams and so forth. And she's hoping that more women get into, getting their pilot's license and so forth. So I thought that was cute. Next question is from Darren and Oro. So Darren and Oro said, I have a day job, but also have a small business on the side. I know you have often had multiple jobs. When do you know it's time to leave your main job and focus on your hustle? Thank you, Darren, for asking. I personally have left before when it was too soon and I didn't have, built up enough on the other end. And then I quickly had to go back to my other jobs because I went in the hole really fast. So I personally wouldn't until you can afford your rent or your mortgage or what have you from your side hustle. And then, you can do it. But I would still even have some, not just like, okay, I have enough for 1 month. Like make sure you have enough for a bit in case you have some fluctuating months and so forth. But I was just like, I'm going to be all in, I'm going to quit everything else, and that did not work. So I would wait till you have some months in the bank in case you do have a bit of less months, and then you still have your butt covered. So that's what I would do, but I would kind of hold on to it for still a bit depending on how much you save. But thank you for asking. There was one more thing. It wasn't necessarily happy, but it was silly. Basically, it was a man in Australia, and a 54-year-old texted his neighbor and asked him if he could take his garbage bin out. And the person, his neighbor said anywhere in particular. And the guy kind of just sent an emoji or whatever of a tongue out. And so the neighbor decided he'd take the garbage bin out like a date. And he took pictures of them at the beach. And he took pictures of them at the drive-through restaurant for dinner. And then he took pictures of them getting a massage, not a massage, but like in front of a massage place, etc. So he brought it back, showed his neighbor, like, oh, I took your bin out. Again, silly, not happy news, but not specifically happy, but I just like, so it's not all dreary news and stuff that is different. I hope you guys stay silly, stay true to yourselves, spread love, and have an amazing evening and rest of your week. Take care.